Aha! How you doing? Jim Belial from Shipyard Brewing. We're in downtown Hanover, New Hampshire, home of Dartmouth College, and we're going to stop and see our friend Martin Murphy over at the Canoe Club, right over my shoulder. We're pouring the Smashed Pumpkin, the Pugsley Signature Series specialty beer, on draft, and we're going to see if he can concoct something on the fly in his kitchen utilizing the beer. So let's give it a try. Dartmouth College, huh? I can't believe they even let me in this town. They're not actually open for business at this time, but I have an idea. We pour our Smashed Pumpkin Pugsley Signature Series beer on draft here, and I'm thinking we're going to surprise the chef. We'll pour some on draft, we'll bring it out back, see what he might be able to whip up in the kitchen with the Smashed Pumpkin. Check out the rich color, rich amber color, and a head so thick you can float a hubcap on it. Martin, how are you?
I am fine, but how are you, sir?
I realize that a 9% alcohol beer and sharp instruments probably aren't a good mix, but
9% beer in the morning, yes, it is a little too early.
I was wondering if you think you could whip up something using our Smashed Pumpkin. The premise is called Sneak Attack Chef. We wander into an account, we corner you, see what you can whip up on the go using one of our beers. We happen to have the Smashed Pumpkin on draft right now, which is a very complex, very smooth, very strong, full of character beer. I think it would work well in your kitchen.
It's a little too early to drink, but I can absolutely whip something up with that.
It may be too early for you, but it's not for me, so cheers.
The Smashing Pumpkin's awesome. I got this beautiful pork roast at Roby Farms. I was planning on roasting it with some squash, and I was going to do sort of a little kind of funky barbecue spicy sauce. This is kind of like Murphy's Law. This is going to work out just fine. I definitely got something that can work with it.
All right, let's get cooking.
This is our walk-in. This is the world of food.
All right.
Have a lot of what we call mise en place, things ready to go. And lo and behold, this is sort of my little plan here for tonight. I've got some of the ingredients to play work with to do our little roast lamb.
This is where I'd sneak away to drink beer.
It is simple. It's somewhat clean, but this is where we're going to work. We've got, again, this is before lunch. I try and get as much prep as I can.
Well, if there's anything I can do to help, I have limited skills, but you know.
So this is the pork loin for tonight, okay?
That's my baby.
That's your baby. Now what I'm going to do, this is a little steak rub that I make.
All right.
Mixture. And what we're going to do is gingerly sprinkle it. It's called my steak rib rub. There's some fresh, there's some thyme in there. I have some smoked paprika, a little ancho chili for some spice. There is some salt, but not heavily. It's a nice mix. The key is you get a nice layering right here. And this is something for big roasts like this, you like to have them seasoned 6 to 8 hours or even longer ahead of time.
I assume you'll give me credit during dinner this evening?
We will give you some credit. You want to preheat the pan first. What I'm going to do, this is a little canola oil. Okay, so you're going to put a little oil on the pan. We don't need to go crazy. We're not pan frying.
All right.
Because again, you're going to pour a little bit in the pan. There's nothing wrong. Your hands are clean. Correct? Yeah.
Says you.
So, well, I would suspect so. So now we're going to put it skin side down. So turn it over.
Down.
Yep. Just be careful. That's it. So it's skin side down, pan's hot, and you get it right in the oven. We usually like to hear a little bit of a sizzle on there. We had the oven open. We're going to do about 10 minutes. Turn it over in about 10 more minutes.
All right.
So we talked about cooking. You want to do some work, so you're going to do some work. This is your tool.
I'm frequently referred to as a tool, so this should be fine.
What we're going to do is start the squash. It's
right.
going to be pan roasted. We're going to stir it in there. We're going to do some squash and some red onions. But first thing, we've got to get something into the pan. This is a tub of butter. Butter is melting as a foam. Cooking with butter, it's got great flavor. We love it with vegetables. We don't want it to burn. Put in the squash.
Dumping the whole thing?
Dump the whole thing right in there. Use the spoon to get it out. But in the beginning, we want to get some salt in there, okay? And a couple pinches. And this is where we use a sea salt or a kosher salt.
Yep.
A couple pinches in the very beginning. Now you're going to take your onions and put your onions in there. Yep. And stir them around. Use a little red onion for color contrast. You want to have time to have another sip of beer. So we put this in the oven and it's like,
I am feeling it. All right, what do you get there?
This is a mixture of ancho chili,
yep.
A little bit of smoked paprika, some coriander, a little bit of allspice. These are some hearty spices, so we want to put some of those in there. A little bit more is another little spice blend right there. Add to that. And stir this around for another minute. Pour the bottom rack out, not all the way, but pull it out, okay? Now what I'm gonna do, yeah, just a little bit. Now if you want to, now this is me to show you once. Just my hand right there, it's hot, but not ridiculous hot. With a spoon, we're gonna turn it over.
Nice.
So we're gonna slide that back in.
Okay.
I'm gonna take this rack totally out. I'm gonna slide that right in on top. Okay?
Top one or middle?
This one right in the middle.
There you go.
Right in. Okay? So we got 10 minutes and 10 minutes, and we're good to go there.
At some point we have to sacrifice the beer, right?
My beer, I'm sure, not yours. Now, it is over open flame. Got a nice foam going on. That's a nice foam right there. It's going to want to get some of those wonderful spices intensified. So I'm not going to call this barbecue in any way, but I'm using some of the barbecue techniques.
Right.
The tomato paste is going to help naturally thicken it, give it some body. We don't have the really heavy demi-glace. I have some really nice roasted chicken stock here, and that's going to work, but we want to thicken it a little bit. This is what we're known for, maple syrup. Awesome stuff. So we're going to have a little hint of sweet, the beautiful foam's forming.
Whoa.
But as what's happening is we want to whisk it, and I wanted to whisk it a lot faster to have it come back down.
Okay.
I didn't want it boiling over.
I just didn't want to make you look bad because, you know, this is your area of expertise. So.
So this is one of my little personal treats here.
Nice.
We're coming to season. These are homemade pickled chili peppers. Nice and pickled. These guys are hot. So this is where I want to have some fun with the chili peppers, and we'll garnish our pork with a little bit of diced chili to give a little bit of spice to go with it. So here again, we're still seasoning our stock with salt. Not too much, but you want it's a flavor enhancer. All the different spices.
Hey, those things get hot.
Yep. Take a couple spoons of your tomato paste. Start off with one. We're going to stir that in here. We'll hold back a little bit.
I just want to go.
I know you. I realize that. And again, what we want to do is stir it around. I'll let you get back in here for a minute.
All right.
And you stir it around. You're going to start seeing the tomato paste start to thicken. Start off with a little bit of it, and near the end, a little bit more. Stir it in. Again, that's full bit. And this is the actual chili vinegar. So this has got some heat to it. So take the pan of squash first. Set it right on the flat top. And the squash should be soft to the touch. We don't want to make it mush. If it's a little resistant to the bite, it goes a couple more minutes. We'll set it right behind you. I'll move your beer out of the way. I don't see the damage.
Careful with that beer.
Right there. I will be careful with that beer. I'm going to close the oven door. Now, here we go. This is now a serious knife.
All right.
Just showing you one thing. We want to cut it in half lengthwise.
Yep.
Now we deal with hot peppers. This is where most of the heat is. A lot of the seeds and the ribs.
Yep.
So we're actually going to just kind of lay it flat and gently remove these. Put them onto this pan right there.
The insurance is paid up.
There's no insurance here for this, my friend.
Oh boy. Actually, I used to do this for a living. All right, I never did it for a living.
So I'll have a dish of hot peppers out there and let the customer add more to it if they want.
It's a good plan.
Small thin sliver, so go ahead. Starts off, nice little pickle. Not too bad. And then slowly, it's gonna kick in a little bit.
It's delicious.
We're gonna put these guys right in the bowl right here. Okay? And we're gonna let that sit. So now what we want to do is find our balance.
Yep.
We want a little thinner, want a little sweeter, a little bit more heat, a little bit more salt. So we always talk about, we did some seasoning in the beginning to start it, now we're finishing. Now, right away, pretty strong on tomato, pretty strong on some heat. It's almost a little harsh in a way, so we're gonna add a little bit more maple syrup. A little bit more stock and a little bit more salt. You really need to taste. I always say people with recipes, go lighter than what they say and then adjust at the end the personal flavor. Put a little bit more salt, and then we're going to take one last ladle of chicken stock. And we're going to whisk that up and we're going to have a nice little balance. There's definitely some body and flavor in the background, and that's definitely from the beer.
Great.
It's going to be very interesting to taste it with the beer and with the squash. We're going to just spoon a little bit of the squash right out on the plate. So there you go.
It's all about presentation.
Sometimes, just to make it even, we'll take a little piece off. And that can be a piece for us,
nice.
the working guys.
We earned it.
So here we go.
Nothing wrong with that.
You do the finishing touch, a little ladle though, not a lot. And this is where it's nappe. A little bit on the pork, and some underneath like that.
Yeah, I usually like to take a nappe sometime in the middle of the afternoon.
After you've had your morning beers, huh?
Right.
This is where your guests can administer their own pain.
Yep.
Take a small little spoon, put the little the pickled peppers right there. And my friend, we've got a dish going on here.
Yikes. Well, thanks to Martin and the crew, but it is time to go eat.
Let's eat.
Time for lunch. John Chapin is joining us. By the way, I think I've learned more today than in any other segment, just because Martin is a wealth of information. You're lucky to have him.
Yes.
And one thing we did discover is that you don't want me working in your kitchen. So I'll be your beer guy, and we'll call it good at that.
At the Canoe Club, we're big fans of working with small local farms. Quality ingredients is what it's all about, just as you microbrewers, Shipyard. What's in the beer depends on your beer maker, the brewmaster, and the ingredients that you use. And that's what separates you from the pack. And there's nothing better than sit in a great environment with great food and good beer.
Nostravia.
One of the nicest things about really the whole time that we're open is that people appreciate the Shipyard brand. They associate that with good quality ingredients and really distinctive tastes that separated from, let's call it, the mass market beers.
Right.
My joy is to enjoy some of these peppers to enhance the flavor, small amount, but still there was some heat there, but it works well with the beer. And when we started to enjoy some of the squashes and stuff, you have a really nice cohesiveness with the beer, the food on the palate.
Well, again, I'd like to thank Martin and John from the Canoe Club here in downtown Hanover, New Hampshire. Definitely worth the drive. Beautiful part of the country. Fantastic food. Fantastic smashed pumpkin, 9%. Dark, smooth, complex, much like myself. Enjoy.
Next time you're in the area of Hanover, New Hampshire, be sure to visit Chef Martin Murphy at the Canoe Club.
So you definitely enjoy your spice there, Jim.
Oh, I do.